The NASCAR Cup Series playoffs continue this weekend at Kansas, commencing the round of 12, which will conclude in Charlotte at the Bank of America Roval 400. Joining me now is 2023 Cup Series champ Ryan Blaney. Ryan, how you doing, man? I know you're trying to get out of here ahead of some of this mess of a weather system we've got coming in. But my biggest question for you is, where is the trophy from last year? Did you keep it? Is that the house? Is that the shop?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, the trophy, it was at my house for a little while. And my dad is actually has it right now in his shop. He's building a case for it. So he borrowed it to try to fabricate this case for it to sit in. So it's been in a few other places.
Did you get to drink anything out of it? Like, what are some of the stories when you first had your hands on it before Dad took it?
No, man, I never drank out of it. I really wanted to have a night of my group coming over and us filling that thing to the brim and just seeing how long it would take for us to empty it. And we never got the chance. It was such a whirlwind of things going on. We just never got the time to like be able to do it. Hopefully I get to do it again this year to where like, all right, now we're definitely going to schedule this and we can see how long it takes us to empty that big trophy of some alcohol.
All right, well, let's talk about your dad. It was a big week for Dave Blaney, man. I mean, wins that final race, retires in victory lane. The race, of course, that carries your grandfather Lou's name at a special track. Did you know that was it for him? And what was it like to see that?
Yeah, that was obviously that was special for my dad. That race was supposed to be about a month ago when we were in Michigan. I was at Sharon for it, and it rained out that night up there. Unfortunately, they had to reschedule, and then just the date fell on the Bristol night race Saturday, so I couldn't go. But that one is the only one my dad cares to win anymore, right? It's his dad's race. It's the memorial they've had there for over a decade, and he's won it. It's three times now that he's won it. He's the only repeat winner of it. And he did tell me earlier that week, he's like, if I win this thing, I'm going to hang it up. I'm going to hang the helmet up and be done. And I was torn, I'm like, obviously I want you to win this race, but that's like bittersweet for you to be done racing because ever since I was born, you were racing something. Yeah. And so I was like, man, I really want you to win. But part of me is like, man, I want to see you keep racing as well. But no, I was so happy for him. It was cool to talk to him that night after, I got done at Bristol and once I got on the road to be able to talk to him. And so yeah, that was really special. And I know he's going to keep that car forever because that's a special, car of his. And I'm looking forward to having that one in the family for a long time.
So each race is different. Each playoff race is different. Obviously, they come in batches of three for each round. Did you find an approach that you guys had last year, like overall to each round, that you really came away with like, obviously it worked, but that you came away with like, if we're in this position again, we got to do it this way?
I don't really know if we had like a formula to each round. We just went and tried to be the best version of ourselves we could be, and trying to execute every weekend to the best of our ability, have no mistakes, bring the speed to the racetrack that we needed. And luckily it just all worked, right? To where the second half of the playoffs, once we won Talladega, it was like our confidence was through the roof. Our cars were really, really fast. And we didn't make any mistakes and we executed really well. And it led us to winning the championship. And so it's just a streak we got on. And, I think our speed is close to where it needs to be right now. I feel like our group is doing everything in our power correctly. I even look at the first round of the playoffs this year. We were fantastic at Atlanta. Got wrecked on lap one at the Glen and didn't even get to compete. And then, we came back after that and had a really good night at Bristol and was able to get through. So, I'm really happy with how we are executing as a team. And that's all I look for. Like, are you giving 100% of yourself through the week and on the weekend? Are you doing your job the best of your ability? And that's all I can ask of you to do, and if things work out for us and we can run where we deserve to run or compete for these wins, that's fantastic. If it's not enough, it's not enough, but at least we know that we gave everything we had, and that's all I ask for. And that's what we did last year. So it gives me confidence. Like if we're doing everything that we can do in our ability, we're good enough to win another championship. It's just a matter of making it happen. So hopefully we can do it again. But I love where our group's at right now.
Um, get you out here on two pretty specific questions about the Roval. The first one is it sounds like they made a change, I believe, to turn seven, like in the last few weeks, to
Yeah.
maybe promote some three wide and some more kind of competition there as you head back out onto the oval part. What do you think of that and the timing?
Yeah, they'll be different, for sure. Yeah, so it kind of yeah, turn seven is different. It kind of starts in turn five. Um, so like turn five to seven is a different layout. And then the final chicane of the racetrack, it's pretty much the same. It's just a little bit it's shaped a little bit differently. So a couple new changes for the Roval. Yeah, so we'll find out how it is when we get there. I mean, we do sim and stuff like that, but and it gives you an okay idea of okay, this is just kind of the look of everything. And this is maybe how it'll be, but until you actually get on the track, you don't
Yeah.
know. So, you'll see a little bit different stuff. Yeah, I definitely think that new turn seven will be, it's a pretty heavy braking zone to like an incredibly tight left-hander. I mean, 180-degree left-hander to where in a racing line, you want to have like a really wide entry to exit that corner well. But if you're racing so that, like if you have a wide entry, someone can just jam it in there underneath of you and get you two or three wide. So I think it'll be exciting for sure. You're going to see some big moves in that section of the track, and that's what they wanted. And yeah, I think it created another passing zone for us, which that's what you want at road courses is excessive passing zones, and I think that's what they've added.
Last one, I spoke to Doug Rice on Monday about his pending retirement, and he talked about all of his calls and what they mean to him. And of course, he's got some from like the 80s and
Yeah.
90s and early 2000s, but he definitely puts the one in 2018 of you winning the Roval up there. I know the race and winning it meant a lot to you. What does that call mean to you?
Yeah, Doug is someone I listened to as a kid, right? Like ever since I was listening to races or hearing him on the radio, like Doug's voice has just been the staple of the radio. Like it's like TV announcers or any announcer that you grew up listening to.
Yeah.
Like that's a common voice that I hear on the weekends or a certain night, and it'll be different. Not hearing Doug's voice. Like I said, I don't really hear it unless it's playback because I'm racing at the time he's calling these things. But um, yeah, I mean that finish in 18 was pretty obviously fortunate for us. Like if the seas parting and couple guys wrecking, and I never won a race like that before ever in my life, so I really didn't know what to think of it at the time. It was an odd way to win a race, but it was nice it worked out for us. But yeah, I think that call will be remembered for a long time. I mean, Doug's contribution to motorsports will always be remembered, and like I said, it'll be bittersweet to watch him go. But hopefully, we can give him another exciting call like that here at the Roval here in a couple weeks.
All right, for real last question. You guys are all fans of other sports, especially football, but you're working on Saturday and Sunday. How are you watching the Buckeyes? How are you watching Bengals Panthers? Like what's the setup and the timing of that for you guys?
Yeah, it's I usually get to watch a good amount of Saturday, so college football I get to watch a good amount of. Big weekend in college football this
Yeah.
weekend. A lot of big games. So I can usually watch the Buckeyes there. I will be tuning in heavily on the Georgia-Alabama game this Saturday because that's huge for
Yeah.
us to see who comes out
Yeah.
on top and who looks good. And then yeah, Sunday, man, that's tough. Like, I mean, last Sunday, we had Saturday night at Bristol, so all Sunday I watched football. Like I sat in my bar, 1 o'clock games, 4 o'clock games, Sunday night game. I watched all of them. It was amazing. It was the best Sunday of my life. And but then, we usually I'm able to get the first half of the 1 o'clock games in on
Mhm.
Sunday until I have to go out there and get ready to race. So I can at least see a little bit of how it's going. And then I usually see after the race how my fantasy team did,
Yeah.
if I did well or if I got stomped. But yeah, I can work them in pretty good. But Saturdays, it's a good day for me to be able to watch a good amount of college.
Ryan Blaney, 2023 Cup Series champ. Thanks for joining us and good luck. Safe travels out to Kansas, man.
Yeah, but thanks for having me.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.